What's up, guys? Today we're going to put self-canceling turn signals on this Kawasaki Z650, and I've got a few extra modules to give away, so stay tuned. Thanks to the guys at Smart Turn Systems, we're going to be doing an install today on the Kawasaki Z650, so we have automatically canceling turn signals. Never forget again to turn your turn signals off. I know I do it all the time. I'll make a turn, look down 2 miles later, and the thing's still flashing at me. It's annoying, but not anymore. So what we're going to do is the install, and then I'm going to tell you how you can enter for your chance to win one of these modules. We've also got an emergency brake module that will flash the tail light at people behind you during hard downshifts or engine braking. For anyone that owns this bike stock, you know it has some pretty heavy engine braking. So let people riding with you know that you're about to slow down, or traffic behind you whenever you're downshifting. It's going to give them a little flash to know you're deaccelerating. Pretty cool how this thing works. Let's take a look at the modules. Alright, so we've got the Smart Turn System. This is the self-canceling turn signal modules. Nice packaging here. It says Motorcycle Innovation of 2018. So let's open this up and see what's inside and how difficult it's going to be to do the install. Very simple packaging here. Open it up, you see the module displayed. Tiny little thing, not much to it at all. So we're going to remove it from the sleeve. So we have one module with about 2 feet of wiring, pre-terminated connectors, and we have a bag of bullet style connectors, a few zip ties, and a sticker, and some little foam pads. We also have instructions on how to install, along with complete wiring diagram listed here showing you exactly where to make these terminations. And also they have included some of the basic color codes for most common manufactured bikes such as Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. Now these color codes are close to the standard that most factory assemblies use, but you need to still verify whether or not it actually matches what your year model bike has. So basically, we go on to the bike and connect into the 3 wires that go up to the turn signal lever module on the left handlebar of the bike. And what we're going to do is intercept 3 wires, splice this module in between, and that's pretty much it. Very simple. The hard part's going to be getting to the wire itself. On the Z650, it's actually not that bad. It's a naked bike. There's a lot less plastic to remove. But enough with the talking. Let's get into the install and see what it actually takes to do this. Alright guys, what we're going to do first is remove the top cap here around the ignition, and that is simply 4 bolts, pops off, and then we'll be taking the right hand side cover off. Now to take all this off, you only need a 4mm Allen wrench. You have 2 bolts up top and 1 on each side. Once you have all 4 bolts out of here, what we're going to do is then push forward. That unlocks all of the locking tabs on the plastic, and it simply comes off. Your ignition ring may pop loose. Just snap it back in place. Now for anyone wondering, where is the flasher relay on these bikes? It's right here. It is right here. This little guy right there. That's it. You have a orange and brown wire and a red wire. It is a 2-prong connector, and if you're changing out to any LED flasher bulbs, it's easier to just pop this thing out and put a new one in. You can simply clip the factory connector off and put regular spade terminals. Put those on, and then you can use about any generic LED flasher on the market. Instead of paying about $30, you can pick one up for about $2. So if you're ever wanting to know where that is, it's right there. Now we're going to remove this panel. There are 4 snap plugs, the little plastic rivets here. They're easy to remove. You press the center in and then just lift it out with your fingernail. To put them back in, you will press back out just like that, and it'll be ready to put back in. And then you very gently press it in. But let's take those out. You have one here, there's one here, one at the bottom corner, and then on around to the back, there's the 4th one. So you pull those 4 out. And then we will need our 4mm again. There are 3 screws. So you have one here, and one at the bottom. So let's take these out. Okay, now that you have the 3 screws and the 4 plastic connectors out, just wiggle this thing back and forth a little bit. It'll start to separate at the top, and then down along the back here and behind the corner here in this area, there is a rubber grommet. So we're just going to wiggle it and pull the whole assembly off. This is your voltage rectifier. We're going to remove this 1 screw here and then just let it simply lay over. This will take a 10mm wrench or socket. And once that bolt is out, wiggle it straight up. There's a little prong that goes into a rubber grommet, and you can simply let it lay over very gently. Don't want to scratch your frame. Now we're going to remove this piece of plastic. There are 2 silver bolts right here. Those are 8mm. And you'll see a little extra wiring back in here. That is from my lighting kit that I have. What we want to get to is behind this rubber boot. We want to peel this back. You're going to see 3 different harnesses connected in. I'm going to unplug the clear one and the black one. We're going to be getting our power supply from the clear one. The black one contains the wires that go up to the actual turn signal switch, and that's where we're going to make connections to be able to auto cancel everything. My handy terminal screwdriver here makes it all a lot easier to disconnect everything. That one's loose. Now once I have the first one loose, this naked bike is a lot easier to get to and work on. I'm going to wiggle the harness out and through and bring it back over the top. It'll be a lot easier for me to get to the wiring. Now I'm going to remove the black plug as well. And once you have the first one out, you have a little bit more room to play around with. And the black one's a lot easier to unplug. It has a big tab to press down. And we are also going to pull this plug out and pull it out through the front. And once you've gotten this far, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back, because basically the hard part is over with. From here on, we just need to cut the wire loom back a little bit, make our crimp connections, plug everything back up, and test it out. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is very carefully trim the insulation back on both sets. We'll make sure we don't get any wires by accident. Now you can use scissors, you can use whatever you want, but I do not recommend using a knife or an X-Acto unless you are very careful. You don't want to accidentally cut into the insulation on any of these other wires. You don't want to damage anything, so please be careful. Okay, now once we have all this cut into, On this Z650 for my switched power source, I am going to go with this yellow wire with the red stripe. Now you want to open up your little packet and pull out one of your little taps, your Scotch locks. So you just want to put this thing on there. If you've watched my Bazzazz install video, it's basically the same thing as that. You put the Scotch lock around the wire you want to crimp onto. Take a good pair of pliers and snap it down. And basically what that's going to do is just bite into that and give you a small bit of voltage to power up the device. Now, the smart modules pull very little current, so you don't really have to worry about overloading any circuits. You do want it on a switched source, so you don't run the battery down. Now they also give us another little tap to go onto a ground wire. The main grounds are on the opposite side of this bike, so to save a little bit of trouble, I'm going to put a ring terminal on the ground for the module, and I'm going to place it right here. Put a little ring terminal and go right behind this bolt, because that is a good frame ground. Alright, so we're going to take our module. The power wires have different connectors than everything else, so we can just plug them onto the spades. So I'm going to clip the black one off and now put a ring terminal on that. Okay, now once I have that done, I have my new ring terminal installed. I'm going to take this bolt out, slide this behind, and our system will have a ground. Okay. Alright, so now once we have the two power wires connected up, we're going to plug the clear connector back in where it belongs. And now we will work on splitting the wires that go to our plug-in. So we want the male bullet connectors. This one goes up to the switch, and then we'll put females on the downward side. So I'm going to clip these three wires. Okay. And now to strip the wires. Okay, now I'm going to put, I have everything stripped back. I'll twist them up a little bit. That'll tighten up the wire and allow it to get a better crimp. Again, male end goes up to the switch housing. Okay, there are the three males crimped on. I'm going to give them just a little tug there. Make sure they're on very good. I'm going to twist the other end of the wires that we clipped. Get ready to crimp the female bullet connector on. And the reason they do this is if you ever have trouble, you can simply unplug the module and plug these things back together and take the system completely out very quickly. Okay. We'll pull on them a little bit and make sure everything's good and snug. And now for the fun part, we're going to pass the black connector with our butt splices back through here and underneath where we can get everything plugged in where it needs to be. We'll use our wiring diagram again. And for the Kawasaki, the color codes here, power is already finished. Wire to motorcycle. Okay, yellow will go to the Kawasaki gray. So, yellow to gray, and these will only plug in one way. Good little snap. The blue will go to the Kawasaki orange. blue to orange. The green will go to the green. Okay. And now for what goes up to the wire switch, the white will go to the gray. Okay. The brown will go to the orange. And then finally, the violet goes to the green. Okay, everything is plugged back in here. For the fun part, is plugging the factory harness back into the rubber boot here, because the black one, at least on my bike, is kind of up in there. Okay, so I'm going to double my cable back. And we will mount the unit right there. That looks like a really good spot. And it practically holds itself in place. Okay, we have a good secure mounting spot. Trim our wire ties. Put this screw back in before I completely forget about it. It looks like a really good spot for everything. Out of the way. So I'm going to put the rectifier back up. No contact, good clearance. So now I think we are ready for a test. Okay, we should see this bad boy flash whenever I turn the ignition on. I saw a flash. And now what we have to do is go over here to the switch housing and make it where it does not latch anymore. Alright, now this next part is so super easy. We're going to take these little bitty foam pads that they provide. Now we're going to stick them down into the switch housing to make it where it does not latch anymore. Instead, it makes it a momentary switch. We're going to remove the two screws from the housing, open it up, and I'll show you where these things insert. The only thing you need for this is a Phillips screwdriver. Okay, once you have the two screws removed, you just simply roll your switch out, just like this. We're going to open up our little packet, and you want to remove the two small foam spacers. Continue to flip your switch over. And when you see the bottom right here, you'll notice there's two open gaps. Now when you move the switch, this little interior shifts to one side. Then when you press it in, it recenters. Go to the side, it latches, press the center, and it recenters. We're going to stick these little foam pads, one on each side. Just drop them in there. It's that easy. Now we're just going to very gently close our switch housing back up. And insert the two screws back where they belong. Okay, once you have this housing put back together, we're going to test it out. The trick to the little foam pads is to barely stick them in to the opening on the bottom. You don't want to push them in too far, or you're going to take too much pressure to engage the switch. I just found that out. I took it back apart, messed around with it off camera, but that solved it for me. Now, when we take this bike out on the road, you will not have to manually turn the signals off. It will do it for you. Once you complete your turn, it'll automatically shut the signals off, which is awesome. Pretty clean install, not very difficult. I feel like just about anyone should be able to accomplish this. Take your time, follow the instructions, double check all of your wiring before you cut anything loose. As always, double check your work. Alright, so now I'm going to throw the body pieces back on this thing. Alright, ladies and gents, what we're going to do now is install the smart braking module. Again, what this does is under downshift or hard deceleration, whether it's engine braking, anytime that you're rapidly slowing down other than being physically on the brakes, this thing will flash the tail light at everyone behind you, whether you're riding with your buddies or you've got traffic, you know, cars following you. It lets them know that you're slowing down, so it gives them a warning. Pretty cool little concept. Mounting it with the arrow facing forward toward the front of the bike, there's two different things that it does. With the STS logo facing downward, it will flash the rear light. With the logo mounted up, it is a steady on brake light. I'm going to mount it with the logo down so we can get the flashing. But this is super simple. You just find the 3 wires going into your normal tail and clamp onto them, plug this thing up, and you're done. Red is power. Black is your ground, blue is the signal on the Z650. And I'm going to split this wire loom open just a little bit so I can get this thing set up. And again, you get 3 little sets of Scotch locks. We're just going to put one on each one of these wires. And you want to space them a little bit. They work a little bit better if you give them some space from one to the next. And now we're going to route the cable for the bike. Okay, so our ground is our gray wire that is going to attach to the black and yellow. And the power will be the black and brown wire. And the blue signal wire will be the green and yellow wire. And that's pretty much that. And all you need to do now is mount the module. Now, they do provide zip ties, but they say it needs to be fairly level and straight. So I'm going to mount it directly to the top of the battery with some extra Velcro that I had laying around. Alright, now I'll dress the rest of this cable. Nice and neat, get it tucked away. And that's pretty much it. But there we are, guys. 2 units installed. We got the smart turn system and the smart brake module installed. Looking forward to doing some road testing and seeing how accurate this thing is. It's going to be pretty cool. And if you want to get in on the giveaway, you have to drop a comment below letting me know you want in on the giveaway. Just, I'm in, say something to let me know, because when I hit pick a random winner, I need to know that you're in on this. And you can also have a second chance by hitting me up on Instagram here, and then do hashtag STS Tremonte, and that'll get you a second chance. So share this with your friends, spread it around. It's pretty cool. The smart turn system is normally $99. The brake module is normally $79. And if you don't win, or if you want to go ahead and get one, they're giving me a promo code to put in the description that will give you guys a discount on purchasing. So if you want to go ahead and get it, there'll be a link below that'll take you in. It's a pretty cool offer. Really nice guys. I've had great communication with them. I'm looking forward to testing out. I'll be doing a full ride and review of it. But drop it below, guys. Let's blow this thing up. But appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for tuning in, showing all the love and support across all my social media. I really do appreciate it. It keeps me motivated for doing stuff like this, especially when vendors reach out and offer the ability for me to do things like this. Super awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, guys, ride safe. We'll see you next time.